all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in our newsrooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
Want to just get out of town with your friends and family? Are you having a corporate getaway and have no adequate transport? Then this here is what you need to listen to. A brand new 35-seater Yutong luxury bus is now up for hire at an affordable and negotiable rate. It comes fully equipped with aircon, TV for your relaxation, music soothing your trip, and DVD players to give you variety. Book now by calling 0955 0966 or 977 844 141.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Dear Jungle.
Welcome to Prime Television's main news. We're so glad you could join us on the news desk. My name is Martha Namanje. To present the news, we take a look at stories making headlines. Nevers Mumba describes his expulsion as political madness. Matani warns against economic instability should political wrangles continue. Edgar Lungu steps down as PF Secretary General, files in his nomination papers as Christine Kasebasata equally joins race for PF presidency. And in international news, Somali reporter shot dead in Portland. Those are the headlines in the news. Join me shortly with the details. Thank you so much for staying tuned. And now the main news in detail. Patriotic Front PF presidential hopeful Edgar Lungu has stepped down as party secretary general to pursue his presidential ambition. Mr. Lungu made the announcement in Lusaka on Wednesday morning, shortly before filing in his nomination papers. He has since announced that party deputy secretary general Bridget Atanga will act as party's secretary general, and acting president Dr. Guy Scott has urged all those with intentions to succeed late President Michael Sata to pursue their ambitions in peace.
The political mood in the country is getting hotter and hotter each day that comes by. Every day, Zambians are being treated to new and fresh political stories as a result of the pending presidential by-election. As for Wednesday, the 19th of November 2014, Defense Minister Edgar Lungu filed in his nomination papers to be adopted as the PF's presidential candidate. Mr. Lungu, who was flanked by several members of the Central Committee and members of Parliament, filed in his nomination papers to acting President Guy Scott, where he also announced that he had stepped down as the party's Secretary General.
Excellency, Acting President of the Republic of Zambia, I've come before you this morning to put in my application for consideration of Patriotic Front candidate for the upcoming presidential by-elections set for 20th January 2015. I've copied the letter of the national chairperson and the deputy secretary general of the party. I've paid the requisite fees of 20,000. May I also take advantage of this opportunity, sir, to inform the nation that pending this process, to step down as secretary general of the party, and Mrs. Atanga Bridget will act henceforth until we finish this process.
Dr. Scott wished Mr. Lungu the best of luck, urging him and other aspiring candidates to tame their cadres as they fight for the top position.
And let us do this in a peaceful and friendly and candid way.
Even if it was only that decision, I think good practice will demand that I step down.
No, I think, absolutely, sir. And we will follow the constitutional route because, amongst other things, it is the fastest. Even if people refuse to form a consensus, we'll be finished by this time. In 10 days' time, we'll be finished with this election procedure. Even on the worst scenario, the longest scenario. If we start taking the matters to court for determination, I don't think we will even be putting up the candidates for the election.
Later, Mr. Lungu drove to Nasdaq, where hundreds of his supporters were waiting to hear from him. Here, Mr. Lungu simply repeated what he had said when he filed in his nomination papers at Cabinet Office. It seems all these cadres have thrown their weight behind Mr. Lungu, whom many have predicted to be in a better position to take over from the late President Michael Sata. Kalan Chima, reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Kabwata Member of Parliament Given Luinda and former First Lady Christine Kaseba-Sata have also filed in their nomination papers. Mr. Luinda filed in his nomination shortly after Mr. Lungu. On the other hand, Commerce Minister Bob Schinga has also announced his intention to run for the PF presidency. Mr. Schinga announced the development at a media briefing in Lusaka on Wednesday morning. Speaking at the event, Mr. Schinga condemned the violent behavior being exhibited in the ruling party. Mr. Schinga warned that should the violent behavior continue, the PF risks being voted out of office during this presidential by-election. He further stressed the need for the Constitution as well as resolving the contentious Barroso Land Agreement of 1964.
The battle for the PF presidency has now reached its apex. Straight from mourning her husband, Miss Christine Kaseba-Sata has filed in her nomination papers to run for the PF presidency. Miss Sata filed in her papers undercover but unveiled a statement to the media which outlined why she had decided to join the battle. In her submission, Miss Sata explains that she has decided to join the race so as to stop the infighting in the ruling party, which she says is likely to kill the PF. Miss Sata further explains that the grief she is feeling following the death of her husband is nothing compared to the pain that would result from the destruction of her husband's party. She also writes that she is the best candidate to take over from her husband, as she is the one who knows exactly where the party started from, adding that she is a neutral person who can unite the party following the demise of Mr. Sata. It is interesting to note that Ms. Sata will be competing against her son, Mulenga Sata, and her nephew, Mau Sampa, as well as her brother in marriage, Bob Schinga, who have equal fought in their nomination papers for the same position. Given Luinda has equal fought in his nomination papers, as the number of those wishing to stand on the PF ticket continues to swell. Kalan Mchiman reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
Matani Group of Companies Chairman Rajan Matani has warned that Zambia risks losing its favorable investment destination status if the leadership transition process is not handled well. Addressing the media on Wednesday, Dr. Matani says it is important that there is a smooth transition of power at a time when foreign direct investment is sought after for accelerated development of all sectors of the economy. He says various institutions have worked hard at establishing their credibility and are internationally sensitive, hence would not want to risk what they have established. The economic growth of any country is largely dependent on its political stability. Even as the country goes for a presidential by-election in January 2015, excitement has engulfed the political arena, with various parties declaring their eligibility to contest the election. But for the ruling party, their story is different, as about 10 individuals have declared their candidature for the party's presidency, resulting into divisions. This, to a layman, may be democracy, but to a multi-businessman like Rajan Matani, chairman of the Matani Group of Companies, the succession wrangles, if not handled well, have the potential to risk the country's economic investment.
Zambia risks losing its favorable investment destination status at a time where foreign direct investment is much sought after for accelerated development of all sectors of the economy if the transition is mishandled.
And while many may have aligned Dr. Matani to politics, he says he is not a politician and has refuted media reports suggesting that he is behind the funding of a particular political grouping.
I am not a politician and only speak as a Zambian who loves his country. I am not partisan. It is mischievous to allege that I now support a particular camp, whether it's real or imagined. All the companies of the Matani Group are audited by international professional organizations, and some of them fall under Zambian regulators. They have established and disclosed in all their audited reports.
The truth is controvertible. Malice may attack it. Ignorance may deride it. But in the end, there it is. Martha Namanje, Prime TV News, Lusaka. Over 300 University of Zambia students on Wednesday stormed the United Party for National Development UPND Secretariat to support the endorsement of party President Hakainde Hichilema. The students say they decided to support Mr. Hichilema as he is the only candidate with the future for Zambia. They say Mr. Hichilema has exhibited maturity and can bring economic stability to the country. They have accused the PF government of cheating them over meal allowances and bursaries, adding that they will do everything possible to vote out the PF from office in the forthcoming by-election. You are watching Prime Television's main news with me, Martha Namanje. Just before we take a break, here are the local headlines once again. Nevers Mumba describes his expulsion as political madness. Matani warns against economic instability should political wrangles continue. Edgar Lungu steps down as PF Secretary General, files in his nomination papers as Christine Kaseba-Sata equally joins race for PF presidency. Join me for more and other stories after the break.
wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in our newsrooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.
What's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
We now continue with the Prime Television's main news. Zambian Voice Executive Director Chilufya Tali has charged that the behavior of MMD National Executive Committee to suspend Dr. Nevas Mumba is undemocratic. Speaking to Prime TV News, Mr. Tali has retaliated that the MMD has shown its weakness to participate in the forthcoming presidential by-election. Mr. Tali has since expressed sadness that Rupiah Banda's comeback into active politics has brought confusion in the former ruling party. He has called on MMD to find a lasting solution to the presidency before the party is completely forgotten.
MMD has been, one of the parties that has been very democratic among all the parties and this we're talking about intra-party democracy. I think MMD has done well. They have been going to conventions, they have been electing their leaders. But what happened in this recent past, this is not very good for MMD, and it disadvantages them as they go into the polls. I think they needed to agree in a better way other than what we saw, because we saw clearly that there was a division between the president and the NEC members. That shouldn't happen. Whatever it is, they should have been able to harmonize it in the closed doors and come out as a united party, whether we are going to float Nevas Mumba or we are going to float RB.
But Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD President Dr. Nevas Mumba has described his purported expulsion from the party as total political madness. Dr. Mumba explains that what has happened to him is illegal and should not be entertained. He explains that he says he is the illegitimate president of the party and no one will move him from his position. Dr. Mumba said this in Lusaka on Wednesday at the party's secretariat.
On Tuesday this week, the National Executive Committee of the MMD expelled party president Dr. Nevas Mumba from the party for what they termed as gross indiscipline. This followed Dr. Mumba's refusal to be sidelined to be adopted as the party's sole candidate for the pending by-election in preference for former President Rupiah Banda, who lost to late President Michael Sata in 2011. But Dr. Mumba has described his expulsion as political madness and assures his supporters that he is still firmly in control of the party.
Trying to say Nevas has been expelled. That selfish desire by a few people shall not be honored. Yes. I am president until the convention, then we shall choose another president, and if I stand, I will continue after.
Dr. Mumba further says a group of UNIP members have ganged up to hijack the party, which he has toiled to rebuild.
What happened here yesterday was an illegality.
Yes.
Your president will make sure the Constitution is followed. MMD shall not be hijacked by a person or a tribe or a special group. MMD belongs to all of you.
In all fairness, Dr. Mumba does not deserve such political humiliation, as he has indeed worked hard to save the party from total collapse. On the other hand, many people have advised Mr. Banda to stay away from active politics, as this has the potential to dent his image following his smooth handover of power to the PF in 2011. Kalan Muchima reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
Chief Government Spokesperson and Information Minister Joseph Katema has appealed to the media to promote peace and unity in the dissemination of information ahead of the country's presidential by-election. Dr. Katema says information is power, of which the media should not abrogate their freedom by reporting falsehood and insinuations. He says this is a time that the media should show unbiased reporting by working with political players in informing the general populace with the truth, as they are the custodian of information. He has further called on all political players to campaign with integrity so as to protect the nation from any anarchy.
This is the time where your professionalism and your ethics have to come to play. This will assist in depolarization of the nation. Put it across to every Zambian that what is at stake is not personal interest, but the common goal, that is the peace and tranquility of this nation. Emotions will be high, and opinions and preferences divergent, but that is where the media comes in. Government would be very disappointed if you did polarize this nation.
The Patriotic Front Central Committee has refuted allegations that they were promised jobs by Defense Minister Edgar Lungu once voted into office. Speaking in an interview with Prime TV News, Samuel Mukupa, committee member, says the allegations leveled against the committee is uncalled for, stating that Mr. Lungu cannot manage to give jobs to a large group. Mr. Mukupa says the committee decided to rally behind the Defense Minister because he is the only credible candidate who can deliver to the people of Zambia. Mr. Mukupa was reacting to former Defense Minister Geoffrey Mwamba's allegations that PF committee members have been promised jobs by Edgar Lungu. We have more in the following report.
Conflicting statements with regard to choosing a PF presidential candidate has continued to be the subject matter in the ruling party, while other members feel that a convention should be the only mode of adopting a candidate. Others within the party think otherwise. Some members of the Central Committee have maintained that a candidate can still be arrived at by the committee, which has been given such powers by the party's constitution.
Who are part of cabinet are actually the minority. The rest of us are outside and we are very comfortable, but we are very, very careful and very concerned that unless the party is healthy, there will be no government which will be run by PF. And we have gone through the names of those people that are aspiring, and you see, it's a democratic right for one to find a site. When we supported Michael Sata, it was not on account that we were going to be given some jobs. We haven't. Whoever we are going to support, we know positions in the cabinet are limited.
So far, 5 candidates have showed their desire to contest the vacant position of presidency in the ruling party. These include GBM, Mao Sampa, Given Lubinda, Edgar Lungu, and Mlenga Sata. One positive factor is that all the candidates are willing to back a candidate who will be elected by the Central Committee. Gwen Wheeler reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
The United Party for National Development UPND has expressed great concern at the failure by the PF government to pay thousands of farmers who supplied maize to the Food Reserve Agency FRA. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema says this is uncalled for and has urged government to immediately pay farmers without any further excuses or delay. Mr. Hichilema has described the situation as catastrophic, especially that farmers are supposed to be preparing their fields for this year's farming season. This is according to a media statement made available to Prime TV News by Mr. Hichilema. On Monday, several farmers stormed FRA head office demanding payment for their money for the maize supplied to the agency, while farmers in Serenje district of Central Province nearly manhandled their district commissioner for failing to provide answers to them with regard to payment of their money. Mission Save Our Souls has advised the youths in the country not to take the death of President Sata as a negative thing, but use it to the positivity. Speaking at the press briefing in Lusaka, SOS President Johannes Maurice has urged young people to remain positive and make choices for the betterment of the country. He says God has a plan for Zambia and that it is time that young people took up center stage in decision-making positions of the country. The mission SOS is in the country to hold a festival aimed at uplifting lives of young people in the country.
Known for violence, and I had a long knife which they took from me. I've been sleeping with that knife under my pillow for several years. They took that from me, said normal people don't sleep with knives under their pillows. And then they helped me, and later on, when I had gotten to know Jesus, I wanted to be a pastor, so I was helped to do Bible college and started that. But very, very soon after I started pastoring, I wanted to reach out to youths with my same background, with the background as me, but also to youths abroad, and especially to people groups that have never heard the gospel. So we founded SOS, and
Used to watching Prime Television's main news. Join me after the break with a roundup of international news.
Apple Max. Take it to the max.
What makes the new Yo-Yo Chipsy so unique? 100% natural ingredients. Nothing artificial. Just a pure experience of freshness. Chipsy potato chips. We know you'll love them.
And now in international news, Gunmen have shot dead a journalist in the semi-autonomous region of Puntland, the third killed in Somali this year, police and the National Union of Somali Journalists said. Radio journalist Abdurasek Ali Abdu, who worked for Radio Dauji, was killed in the Puntland town of Gakauko region on Tuesday, police said. Abdu, 25, also worked for a London-based television station, the union added. It was not clear what motivated the attack, but journalists have often been targeted since Somali's descent into conflict in the early 1990s. A member of the 165 Cuban medical team sent to fight Ebola in Sierra Leone has been diagnosed with the disease and will be sent to Geneva for treatment. Felix Bez, an international medical specialist, came down with a fever of more than 100 degrees on Sunday and tested positive on Monday, the official website Cuba Debate reported on Tuesday, citing a health ministry statement. The agency said last week that 5,177 people had died of Ebola across 8 countries out of 14,413 cases of infections that have emerged since December 2013. Bez is one of 256 Cuban doctors and nurses in West Africa treating Ebola patients, a commitment that has won international praise as more substantial contributions from many wealthy countries. Finally, for more on these and other stories, we monitored Al Jazeera.
Confrontations across Jerusalem as Palestinians faced off against Israeli security forces. This was the scene on Tuesday night in the East Jerusalem neighborhood of Jabal Mukabar. It follows one of the deadliest attacks in years when 5 people were killed at a synagogue in West Jerusalem. Israeli police have demolished the East Jerusalem home of a Palestinian involved in a deadly attack at a train station last month. 15 people, including women and children, have been killed in an army drone strike in the Egyptian city of Rafah. 7 other people were killed in a separate incident, also in the Sinai Peninsula. Security and medical officials say they were killed in an exchange of fire between armed groups and the Egyptian army. The UN General Assembly's Human Rights Committee has passed a resolution to refer North Korea to the International Criminal Court. It's the strongest international effort yet to hold leader Kim Jong-un accountable for alleged crimes against humanity. The resolution is non-binding and still needs to be approved by the UN General Assembly. It follows a damning UN report earlier this year into human rights abuses in North Korea. Police and protesters have fought in Hong Kong after demonstrators tried to break into Parliament. Protesters used barricades to break a glass door at the Legislative Council building. Police pushed the crowds back with pepper spray and batons. Demonstrations began in September against China's decision to screen candidates for the city's leadership elections in 2017. On Monday, a protest site in the city centre was cleared following a court order. Violent protests continue across Mexico over the disappearance of those 43 students. In Mexico City, barricades blocked one of the roads to the National University, where there's been recent fighting with police. The president says he'll not tolerate violent protests. He says some groups are using the demonstrations to create social unrest and weaken the government.
It looks like this violence is a response to the desire to create destabilization, social unrest, and most of all, attack the national project that we have been pushing for. The government has strongly decided to keep working on a national project that generates wellness for most Mexicans.
That international roundup brings us to the end of news, but just an item received in sports. Zambia has beaten Cape Verde 1-0 in the ongoing African Cup qualifiers for 2015. And here are the headlines yet again. Nevers Mumba describes his expulsion as political madness. Matani warns against economic instability should political wrangles continue. Edgar Lungu steps down as PF Secretary General, files in his nomination papers as Christine Kaseva-Sata equally joins race for PF presidency. And finally, in international news, Somali reporter shot dead in Portland. That's all we had on our main news bulletin. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Martha Namanje, and on behalf of the entire news production team, it's goodbye for now and God bless.
Hey girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you for just a minute. Where you live and what you like to do?
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
Okay, I'm just trying to get with someone real cause you look so free. So let's chill, have a drink with a guy like me.
Apple Max, baby. You need to give me Apple Max, baby.
A quality product from Californian Beverages.
Potato sticks, freaky fries. Get that awesome crunch.
Would you wear all your favorite hats at the same time? Well, we wouldn't either. That is why we suggest you use only what you need. Switch off all electrical appliances and lights in unused rooms. Remember, use only what you need and save power today. Switch and save. Zesco, powering the nation.